Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being here. My name is Andrew, coming to you from the beautiful Carolinas. Today's topic is going to be why your silence does the talking for you. Think about that for a minute. Everyone, if you like the content, please like, subscribe, and share. So frequently I do videos on silence and what it does for you, what it does to toxic individuals, and how it helps you conserve your energy and place the focus back on you. I'm going to jump into the latest edition of this series, if you will, because I'm being inundated with emails and questions and comments about how silence can really benefit you, not just post-narcissistic relationship, but throughout your whole life in general. So here we are. Before you met the narcissist, what happened was you were a kind, loving individual, and I'm sure you still are right now, but you probably were oversharing information with people. And then one day you met the narcissist and boom, here we go. Having said that, throughout the body of your life, think about this. When you were a young child, when you were in high school, perhaps college, young adulthood, maybe all the way up to your 50s, 60s, 70s, all throughout life until you got the wisdom, until you understood that silence is actually important. It's actually imperative post-narcissistic relationship. But back then you thought that other people thought like you did. You thought that other people perhaps were empaths, or that other people had your best interest at heart. And go back in time and really process some of these relationships you're talking about. I can go back to grade school. Specific example, there was a party that was in a certain grade that I was not invited to, and it stung, it hurt. I wasn't invited because something had shifted that year in that grade. Now, I'll tell you right now, that grade was 6th grade for me. This just hit me when I was walking up here to create the video, and I realized, wow, I have been this way my whole life. Now, I always knew I was an empath, and my hope is you are too. If you're not, doesn't matter, you're a human being, you're on the planet, God bless you. But I was thinking about this before creating the video, and I was like, wow, that was that party in 6th grade when I wasn't invited. Now, why I wasn't invited doesn't matter now, but the point is it hurt back then. And what happened is, most likely the people that had the party wanted to exclude me for one reason or another, and they knew it would get to me, and guess what? It did. But it didn't take me down, didn't break me. Not even the narcissistic relationship broke me. I'm here paying it forward each and every day, and my hope is that that's what you are doing, or you will be doing. But that is one example of a relationship when I was a child. I could go through high school, college, young adulthood, all the way up until and including the moment I met the narcissist. Now, all of these things, what I'm sharing with you, as the thumbnail mentions, why your silence does the talking for you, because post-narcissistic relationship, or even if you're not in a narcissistic relationship or weren't in one, and you're watching this video, you are an intelligent human being. You're beautiful and blessed, just like the rest of us. But the point being is, the narcissist or toxic people, what they want to do is they want to take your energy from you. They do want you to overshare. Now, I'll give you another example. Let's say you're talking with somebody. Doesn't matter who it is, friend, romantic interest, business associate, whomever. And notice how every once in a while, every once in a blue moon perhaps, there'll be an awkward silence. And then the two of you are just looking at each other like, well, usually you would break that silence and you would say something. And that's what the narcissist banks on. If you were the person to break the awkward silence, and I'm sure you did it frequently, drop comments below if that was you. But what you were doing there is you were trying to keep the conversation going, because when you're in a toxic narcissistic relationship, you have to provide the fuel for the conversation. The narcissist is always trying to pull from you, and they're trying to learn about you, and they want you to overshare. That's why the narcissist is extremely comfortable in that awkward silence. And they'll stare at you, and they'll look at you, and they'll smirk at you, and they'll giggle at you. They're waiting for you to break down. And it's not just the narcissist who does this. Average everyday people do it too. But when you get the wisdom and you apply the tools that I provide for you on the channel, understanding that your silence, let that do the talking for you. You see, when you were in that narcissistic relationship, it almost took you down for the count. It sincerely did, but it didn't, because you're here and you're getting the wisdom. You're becoming awakened and aware, educated and empowered. And that's what you should be doing. Because if you believe you should be somewhere else, well, you would be there. But that's not where you are. You're right here, right now with me. As I'm creating this content, you're consuming it. Maybe you're going to bed. Maybe you're waking up. Maybe you're having a cup of coffee. Maybe you're on the beach. Maybe you're at work, wink, wink, listening to the video or watching it. Who knows where you are, but the point is, you are exactly where you are meant to be. If you weren't meant to be here consuming the content, you would be somewhere else. But all these things I'm sharing with you, when you were in that relationship, you did so much explaining to the narcissist. You did so many things that you never thought you would do. You said so many things you never thought you would say. You experienced behaviors you never thought in a million years you would experience. And this was all by design, because the narcissist was testing you each and every day. week after week, month after month, year after year, and perhaps even decade after decade. And they were trying to break you down. Again, like I talk about so frequently in the community and on the channel, the narcissist looked at you as an opportunity. They looked at you as a person that they could take from. They looked at you as frail, as weak, as perhaps an empath. They looked at you as somebody who did not know your value or your worth. Now you're understanding that not everybody thinks the way you think. Not everyone has your best interest at heart. Not everybody wants the best for you. And the narcissist was number one on this list. The narcissist looks to destroy, to manipulate, to take from, and to conquer. You, the beautiful, bright, shining light, you look to build, to create, to have a goal, and to experience life to its fullest without the toxicity. So why your silence does the talking for you? Let's think about this. When you were discarded, if you were, and if you were, my heart goes out to you. What happened? Well, I'll tell you right now, you didn't even know what narcissism was. You couldn't wrap your head around it because you weren't taught this in school. Second of all, you had to find that needle in a haystack. Just like the pine needles behind me, you had to find that one needle in all of those beautiful trees behind me, that with that needle on it, there was one word written: narcissistic abuse. And when you found that, that's when you went down the rabbit hole of education. And when you went down the rabbit hole of education, it opened up many doors for you, many possibilities, meaning about the narcissistic abusive cycle. And then you focused and processed on that one toxic narcissist that perhaps did discard you. And then after a long period of time, after much introspection and applying the wisdom and being patient with yourself and stoic and practicing radical acceptance, essentially wrapping your head around what that relationship was. When you do that, then the natural progression is to look at other relationships in your life. Example, when I was in 6th grade that I mentioned at the beginning of this video. This is what you do. This is called healing. It's called the healing path that we are all on. We are all headed in the same direction, simply taking different footsteps. You might be right beside me. You might be in front of me. You might be a little bit behind me. It doesn't matter. We are all helping each other get across the bridge to independence, to freedom, to the beautiful abundance where the doors open up for us. However, to get there, we will have to go through a very, very dark tunnel. The tunnel of exploration, the tunnel of the unknown. And when you enter this tunnel, when you enter it usually is when you get discarded or when the relationship has ended and you can't quite see light at the end of the tunnel. But the more work you do and the more processing you experience and the more focus you place into yourself and the less explaining or talking you do to exterior sources or people, because they're not going to wrap their head around it, they're not going to get it, the more that light at the end of the tunnel gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And eventually, over a period of time, after a mountain of work, and I do mean a mountain of work, you will heal. At least that's my hope. You will reach that pinnacle of indifference, the mountaintop of indifference. When you don't care about the narcissist or any people in that former lifetime, you wish them the best of luck, but just stay away from me. Just stay away from me. That's what you say. Because you've now done something that most people don't do, which is you were in a narcissistic or toxic relationship. You figured out who it was and what this did to you, which meaning that narcissism does exist on the planet, and you processed it and you put yourself back together. That's again why you're in the community. That's why you're paying it forward. That's why you're learning, you're growing, you're teaching if you can. You're reading a book, writing a book, taking a class, teaching a class. You're living your best life, or you are about to, or you're well on the way on the healing path. Now, all these things I'm mentioning to you, it goes back to the thumbnail. Why your silence does the talking for you, because you know what happened in that relationship or relationships. You know your experiences in those relationships. You know that you were gaslit, you were given the silent treatment, you endured the smear campaign, you were triangulated, most likely, my least favorite thing these people do. You experienced rage fits, verbal abuse, mental abuse, spiritual abuse, physical abuse, financial abuse. All of these things you experienced in the relationship because this is how the relationship was built. It was built on a house of cards, not on your part, but on the part of your partner or the person you're thinking about. Maybe the narcissist is your mom or dad. Maybe they financially abused you or withheld empathy or love or affection because they can't give it if they're a toxic narcissistic person. I'll tell you that right now. The narcissist has no love or no empathy. They care about one person, and it is not you. It's never been you. It's themselves. But all these things I'm talking about, you were in that relationship, and let's say you were discarded or you ended it yourself. You had a lot of work to go through. You had a lot of education to experience. You had a lot of insight to process, and you did it. And here you are now, and you're understanding that silence, let the silence do the talking for you. You don't have to explain yourself to former people that were in that you knew, acquaintances back in the time when you were in the relationship with the narcissist. You don't have to explain yourself to your immediate family to coworkers, to friends, to people in communities or organizations. I'm not saying don't do it. What I'm saying is once you get the wisdom, you will find out rather quickly it's not going to serve you, because most people don't know what narcissism is. Other people are narcissists themselves, and other people can't wrap their head around it. It's only those of us that have come through the fire and risen through the ashes like a phoenix that speak the same language. We can understand and identify with each other just with a look, just with a few words, just with a facial expression, just when someone says, oh yeah, me too. Because we get it, we've been there, we've lived it, we've gone through it, and now we're conquering it or defeating it. Because the toxic narcissistic relationship, a couple things here. One, it was meant to take you down. It was meant to really do damage to you, and I'm sure it did. On top of that, number two, you weren't meant to ever figure out what narcissism was. You absolutely weren't. Number three, every time when you were in the relationship that you will get closer to figuring out or discovering who the person was, they would give you a little breadcrumb of hope, of fake humanity or fake empathy or fake kindness, because they knew you were getting on the trail of discovery, and they needed to string you along longer because the new supply wasn't quite in place yet. And while they were doing that, they were extracting more of your resources, and you were over explaining yourself, over sharing yourself. You were committed to the relationship, and that's why so many times you would be in the relationship and you would say, hey, let's have an adult conversation. Not adult time like you're thinking, dirty minds. I'm talking about adult conversation. You just want to have a conversation one-on-one with the two of you and get on the same page, but you never could quite do that because the narcissist usually would say, wait a minute, I have to go boil an egg, or hang on a second, I have to do the laundry from 5 weeks ago, or hang on a second, I'm on a phone call, I'll get back to you later, or you're so insecure, I don't want to talk about this. What's your problem? Go get help. You need therapy. What's the big deal? Have thick skin. Everyone told me I shouldn't spend time with you. People told me I should have married you. They'll pepper you with all that because they don't want to talk, because the narcissist can't introspect. They can't be accountable. They don't want to look inward and understand that they are shallow, they're empty, and that they are anxiety riddled, and that they can't ever get out of their own mind. That's why they need to confuse people like you or like me. They want to keep us trapped in that mental prison, sometimes even in the physical prison, which is when you're isolated in your own house. They want to continue to pepper you with abuse, mind games, if you will, gaslighting, verbal abuse, all these things they want to do. And when you are defending yourself against a person that continues to ignore any word you say or any action you do unless it benefits them, that is a very challenging experience. And then when you're by yourself with this person, just the two of you in that environment, it's even more challenging because you don't have a healthy individual to bounce things off of. You don't have someone to be a sounding board, to be supportive of you or for you. You don't have someone who has been there down the road and lived it firsthand. That's what you need. What you don't need is to be explaining yourself or defending yourself or experiencing reactive abuse with the toxic narcissistic person or with any energy vampire. So why I'm sharing all these things, let's say the relationship ended. It did. And now you're not going to get closure from the narcissist. We know that. You will never get it because the narcissist has already slithered away into the darkness looking for the new supply or hoodwinking the new supply, love bombing them, if you will. But having said that, not communicating with the narcissist is the path. Going no contact, blocking them, deleting them, removing all flying monkeys and people associated with them is the solution. If you can't do that now, I strongly suggest you utilize gray rock, which means become dull and boring. Don't share information, don't explain yourself, don't defend yourself. Understand that that relationship you were part of, it was a lifelong learning lesson. You had to go through it. If you didn't meet that narcissist, I can assure you, you would have met a different one because you were ripe for the picking. You didn't know your worth. You were a people pleaser maybe. You are an empath. You couldn't say no, the strongest word in the English language, and you were looking for love or for a relationship, or you were looking for something, but the thing you were looking for, that's not what you found. What found you was a toxic narcissistic individual, a person who wanted to take you down for the count, who wanted to manipulate you and keep you trapped. This is why so frequently when you're in these relationships with the narcissist, they move at light speed. Many times people get married in under a year, maybe even 6 months. Many times people move halfway around the globe within weeks. Many times people fall in love over the internet on dating apps and things like that because they're looking for something, but what they're looking for is not what they're finding. They're finding a toxic person on the other end. And this is what the narcissist preys upon. They prey upon you being vulnerable. They prey upon you oversharing. They prey upon you telling them everything about your past, your present, and your hopes, dreams, and aspirations. And once they get those bits of insight, they begin to weaponize them against you. That's why frequently the narcissist will use pet names that you were called in the past, or they will say that they've joined hobby groups that you have been a part of for years when they don't even know how to play those hobbies, or they don't even know how to participate in them, or they'll begin wearing the same clothes as you, or they'll begin talking using the same words as you do. This is what the narcissist does. They're a creature, a shapeshifter. They just go on from person to person, relationship to relationship all over the planet, looking for the next person, the next target, if you will, to take from. And at one point, that was you. It can't be you any longer. That's why understanding that if the relationship did end, and my hope is it did, and you're putting yourself back together, or you have put yourself back together, that not explaining yourself or talking about it is the path. Conserve your energy for yourself. Understand a lot of people on the planet don't have your best interest. They just really don't. Not everybody, but a lot of people are envious of you. A lot of people are jealous of you. A lot of people want to be you. A lot of people are not nearly as strong as you are, and they try to take you down with them, because if they take you down with them in the low vibrational quagmire state, that's what the narcissist does. If they can do that, then they feel good about themselves. They're like, wow, I just manipulated this person and I got them down in my low vibrational state. I'm pretty amazing. And guess what? This person's trapped down there with me. The thing is, I can't escape it. I'm in the darkness all the time, but I just captured their beautiful, bright, shining light. Now they're with me, and I'm feeding off of them. I'm feeding off of their misery. I'm feeding off of their discomfort. I'm feeding off of them not knowing how to get out of the narcissistic fog. I'm feeding off of their energy, which was positive, and it's turning negative slowly and slowly and slowly. And I'm watching them fall apart. I'm watching their health take a hit, their finances take a hit, their social circle take a hit, their confidence take a hit, their belief take a hit. And what are they doing? They keep on going to me. They keep on asking me for the answers, and they keep on explaining themselves to me, and they keep on telling me what's going on. I don't understand. That's what the narcissist preys upon. They prey upon you not knowing and not getting the wisdom and not understanding your value. So as the thumbnail mentions before I close the video out, why your silence does the talking for you? Because post-relationship, or maybe you're in it now and you're gray rocking, but post-relationship, you need to really remove yourself from these people. And you really need to understand that they're not going to change. They're stuck down here forever. Stuck. You vibrate higher than the sun behind me or in front of me. You vibrate on such a high state. The narcissist saw this, and they've tried to capture you for a period of time. And they did succeed. Until when? Until they didn't. And that's when you apply the wisdom. That's when you get the tools. That's when you understand your value and your worth. And that's when you begin to close the chapter on these toxic individuals. So understand the message. Silence is imperative. If you've gone through the narcissistic abusive cycle, you know what I'm talking about. Drop comments below. If you're in it and you're not quite sure what you're up against, drop comments in the community and let the veterans or the people who have healed or are well on the healing path help get you across the bridge, or at least educate you and let you know that in fact you are not alone. The whole idea is you've gone through this relationship. It's something you weren't prepared for. You weren't taught this in school. It was foreign to you, but you've gotten out of it, or you are getting out of it, and now you are changed forever. You are entering and or are in the third version of you, the strongest, most galvanized version of you possible. The first version of you was before you met the narcissist. You were living your life with rose-colored glasses, probably. The second version is when you were captured in that narcissistic relationship. And that's when you were existing in the toxic narcissistic fog for the length of that relationship. And then you broke free. However you got out, you got out. And then once you've healed, and healing will take time, a lot of time, but in time you will heal. Believe me, if you apply the tools that I'm providing for you and the wisdom in the community. The third version of you, that's where you'll enter the strongest, most galvanized version of you ever known to humankind. Not everybody gets there. Not everybody makes it. You will make it because you've made it this far in the video. And believe me when I tell you, if you saw me 3 years ago, you would have seen a completely different person than you're seeing right now, but I put myself back together and I have really changed, and you will too. This is an awakening. It really is. If you've gone through the cycle, you've come out the other end and risen through the ashes like a phoenix, and you've applied all the wisdom and you understand that you are the priority, you come first, second, and third, you will be changed forever. You'll be transformed. You will be awakened and aware, and you will have the ability to pay it forward just like I do. That is the path. Understand. You must take action. If not now, when? So everyone, that's the video. I hope you liked it. I loved doing it. From the beautiful Carolinas, this is Andrew. Namaste. Have a great afternoon, evening, or morning, no matter where you are on the planet. You are not alone. I love you all. God bless you. And I hope you have a great day. I'm going to try to create another video if I can. But for now, I love you all. God bless you. Stay strong. And remember, let your silence do the talking for you. You don't have to explain or defend yourself to anybody. Let all the energy vampires shrivel up and disappear. I love you all. God bless you. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye. Maybe today. Bye.